All right, so today we're going to be working on making our astronaut. And you're going to see that here I have our Model Magic. I've got aluminum foil, which I've cut into different strips. You'll notice that they might be, when I cut them together, so they're a little bit, attached, and that's fine too. I've got a baggie, so when you're working on your project, you can put it back in until we finish our base. This is going to be for the mask part of it, as well as I have toothpicks in order to help with sticking our pieces all together. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to open up your bag. You kind of pull this little part here, and you pinch here, and then you pull it open like such. La la la. And you take out your Model Magic. And you can recycle or throw out that piece there. Okay, so obviously this entire thing is not going to make up all of our astronauts. So we're going to use the aluminum foil to make those other pieces. But for me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide, before break, we used our plan sheet and came up with exactly what we're going to make. I want my head to be about this size because my base looks like this, right? And we'll paint this the next time we're together once they're all fired. But I want my astronaut to stand on it appropriately and be something. So I'm going to use this next part and I'm going to make this be the body. I want my body to be around this size. Kind of make it nice like this. That's a good significant size, right? And the rest of this I'm going to use for other things that I want to be able to create, and we'll get there. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap the body in my foil. I give it a nice wrap. I can tear this part here, and then I can also do some more wrapping like such. And I've got my astronaut body. It almost feels like it's a piece of gum that's stuck inside here. Good. Now I have my head. And I can roll it in here, kind of form it the way I want. And there's my head. If I have a little bit, maybe I want it to be like this anyways. Kind of give it a squeeze. I take my toothpick and I can then stick it in here for the body. And then I'm going to take the head and I'm going to stick it right on like such. So now my head and my body are together. Now the rest of it, I can look at, maybe I want to use this for a little bit of something like a nice shoulder. So I can have my shoulder starting here like such. Take some more of my foil and I can roll it like this, and then I can start forming this into arms. So I know it looks a little skinnier, and that's fine. Part of building is you're wrapping it in layers and you're building it like this, and I can bend it the way I want. I can pinch this in and form it into different pieces of it, whatever you want your astronaut to look like. So here's my first arm. So then I will take this and I'm going to stick it in here, and then I'm going to stick this through it as well, and now I got it. Don't worry if it comes out the other end, we can use that for the other piece too. So I want you to keep building your astronaut. I have another arm and I have 2 legs to go. And again, you can use little pieces, or if you don't have any more, just roll this together and you'll make it nice and thick. So showing you how I did the arm again, I got some clay here, and then I'm going to take more, ripping the chunk, and I'm just going to keep adding it on. I just kind of roll it on here, and I can roll it more. I can twist it like this, and I'm going to keep adding it. This is too thin here, so I'm just kind of add it nice and thick onto it, and now I'm making it into another arm. And I can just stick this on here, and I already have another arm ready to go on. So start building a couple more things. You got your head, your body, your arms. I'm gonna make the legs, and then like a pack for the oxygen in the back. Okay, so once I got my proton pack, I've got like the little things that I want on the side, and then I have like the air tube. The next thing I'm going to do is cut the face that I want for it. So I'm just going to make like an oval shape, like such. And that should be about the size of the face that I want. I can always trim it if I want. And then I'm going to have glue as well as hot glue guns going. All right, so for the hot glue gun, I can help you with attaching some things. I just put a little bit of the hot glue on, and then I can get this onto the face. I have a few set up so we can do it together. I squeeze a little bit, rub it off on here, stick it on like such. Careful not to get it on my hands. There we go. I'm going to flip my little guy over. I'm going to make this the pack, so I'm just going to kind of flatten this by smashing it a little bit so it fits a little better on the back. Give it a nice little push so it sticks on there. Now I want to attach the hose. Okay, so I'm looking, I've got my astronaut on here like such. There might be a few things that I just want to reattach a little bit more, like the head keeps getting a little loose in this arm. So I'm just going to kind of give it a nice little squeeze to put it back on. Building takes some time. It always needs a little finessing here or there, and that's normal. Little glue goes a long way. And there, I've got my astronaut built, and then once we stain this, I'll be able to glue my astronaut onto my piece. And that's all that we're going to be doing today. All right, so today we're going to finish decorating our base that we have for our moon. At your table, you're going to find I have a little cup that has white oil pastel and black oil pastel in it. And I want you to do today is you're going to add in some of those different shapes, and then we're going to do a India ink wash. So I use some India ink, I put some water in it, and then what it does is it's watered down so we can paint our whole thing and make it more moon-like. So I want you to kind of take your time. You're going to feel the texture and the pressure and things as you add on using your white oil pastel. And because it is a piece, a form piece that's three-dimensional, because you can see all around it, think about where you want that all to take place. You know, kind of adding on, what I'm doing is I'm just adding on some highlights that I want anywhere on my piece. And then I'm going to take my black, and I want to make some areas a little darker, you know, just to kind of give it a little extra something. You don't have to. And you just kind of take your time as you're going over it. If you didn't finish doing your name or anything, you can always write it on the inside and kind of add in some of those features. So you can take your time if you don't have a lot of texture on it and work your way around. The next thing that we're going to do is, in my cup, I have some watered down India ink, as I said. My brush here is dry, so I have some water in our cups. We're not going to tap our brushes because this particular ink is waterproof, and it also is what I call like liquid Sharpie. So we never want to tap with this particular one. And we're going to have our tables covered a bit. So what you'll see is it's going to cover your piece, which is super dry from being fired. And all I'm doing is just getting a little bit, and I'm just going to fill my entire piece to give it that really neat effect. The oil pastels are fantastic because they're waterproof, right? They give it that little extra bit, which once this dries, you can go back and add a little bit more if you want. It will come off your fingers, so I recommend, you know, as you're holding it, it's fine. You can absolutely go back and wash your hands when you're done. But these areas, the reason I watered it down is so it can get into these different crack areas here on this piece. And you can go back in and make some shadows. The more you put of this on in a certain spot, it's going to get darker. It's going to give us that moon effect that we were looking for. Okay, so now that this is dry, as you see, it dries rather fast. You can again go back in and add some darker space spots to certain parts so you get some of that shadow. You know, I like to see some of the lighter and the darker areas. And then what you'll do once you're done with this is you can also go back in and add in a few more areas of highlights if you want. If you go, oh, I really want some of this to stand out, or I really want, you know, a couple of darker areas on here, you know, for shadow effects, you can go in and just add those extra little spots that you want, just to make it stand out a little bit more. And you'll notice it does dry very fast. Oh, I forgot a spot. That's okay. I can just add a little bit more. Voila. What we're going to do next is we're going to take our astronaut and then we're going to glue it onto our piece. So think about exactly where you want to glue your astronaut on. Okay, so using the hot glue gun, what I'll do is I'm going to put it exactly what I want it on my piece. I put a significant amount. And then I'm going to take my piece. I've decided what is the front and what is the back. And I'm going to hold my astronaut onto that spot. And then it will dry. And voila, there is your astronaut on the moon.